Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the Mana Dorks Podcast. I am your host, Tasty Snackies, as always brought to you with my co-host, McBee. How's it going, McBee?
What's happening? Fantastic to see you, my man.
Yeah, it's been quite some time. It's been over a month, actually, since I've uploaded a video on this channel in general. So apologize to my audience.
You have no one to apologize to. We do what we will, and people consume it at will.
Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. It's our rules.
That's two different kinds of will, man.
So, how have you been, man? What have you been doing?
Playing a lot of contact sports, doing a lot of climbing.
Climbing?
Yeah, I've recently been doing a lot of long distance run. No, I'm fucking around. I've been sitting around doing, near a computer, doing my radio thing. Been working a lot of Friday and Thursday night promos, going out, giving away duck tickets. People seem to be quite enthused about that.
Oh, fuck yeah. Everyone loves free shit, dude.
Sports Ball, brought to you by Sports Ball.
Oh, hell yeah. I love my sports ball. I'm trying to come up with jokes for the sports ball meme, but it's kind of hard since I watch football on a semi-regular basis, so it's kind of hard trying to make fun of it from a nerd angle.
Sports Ball, brought to you by Silver Beer. Drink Silver Beer today.
This looks bad. I should have changed my lighting. Whatever. It's too fucking late now. I have to deal with it. But yeah, so the reason why I haven't uploaded in a month actually is because I've been super busy. I spent a week over in Missouri because my best friend was getting married, so I had to visit him for that, and I spent a few extra days over there chilling out, meeting up with friends and shit.
I think that's a great move, man. It's a great move. Yeah, spending extra time with the homies from back in the motherland.
Yeah, I mean, since I was going to go over there, I wasn't just going to go there for 2 or 3 days and waste all that money for a plane ticket and just not get my value out of the trip, Did
you bring them weed?
No, actually, I didn't want to run any risks of trafficking or whatever, so I had to buy, fucking shitty ass Reggie from over there.
Oh no.
It wasn't too terrible. I got a minor headache, but whatever. I don't fucking care.
Wow, they hit you with the ditch weed, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, he warned me prior. I was just like, hey, man, you got something? And he's like, dude, all I got is cheap shit because I'm running on a budget right now. And I was like, whatever, I don't fucking care.
Whatever, brother, I love you. You're getting married.
Yeah. Well, not him, a different friend. He works a professional job where he has to clean pee, or he has to pee clean. And, I was going to say, after the wedding, and I flew back over here, him and his wife, for their honeymoon, traveled across the country antiquing and collecting conductors and all sorts of other pretty shit, and made their way over to my side. And they checked out Seattle and Portland, and I showed them around town for a few days, and so that consumed another week of my life. And then I've been spending the past 2 weeks just recovering from it because I'm very introverted, and just going back and coming here and just dealing with people for nearly 3 weeks straight just burned me the hell out. So I'm back, ready to spew more bullshit onto the internet.
Very good. Very good. I'm happy that we have a new set out. I mean, we have a whole new set under our belt now. We got to play that.
Yeah, man.
Did you go to the pre-release?
Kinda, sorta. I went to the I don't really like doing midnight pre-releases anymore. It's taxing on the body, especially as you get older. But I tried going to a two-headed giant and I couldn't find a partner, so I was just like, oh, fuck it, whatever. I just bought a pre-release kit, pulled some good shit out of there, and then used the redemption code to play my pre-release on Arena. So yes, I did play my pre-release, just not physically.
I don't. Is the window closed on your pre-release Arena thing?
What do you mean? The redemption codes?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You should try it out and see if it doesn't work, because I think it just gets you a free entry into a sealed event, and they still have those up, if I'm not mistaken.
Very good.
They did just update it last week, this past week with Singleton, but Black Ops 4 also came out on Friday, and I've just been playing Black Ops 4 instead of Singleton. I put Magic Arena off to the side for a bit. But I've been playing Magic a lot. I've been playing a lot of Arena for this past month because I invested like $200 into it like 6 months ago. And then with this rotation and the beta update, it reset my account and gave me all my shit back. So I just dove right back into Standard. I'm just trying out different decks with different decks, and they're all equally bad. But I've been playing this decent blue-red tempo shell that, you start off the early game with Essence Scatters and Negates and Disdainful Strokes and shit like that, and Lightning Strikes and Shivan Fires for removal. And you have like Electrostatic Field as your blockers early, and it gets value off of your burn spells or your draw spells. And then you play Goblin Electromancer, and it finishes off the game with Crackling Drakes, Enigma Drakes, and most interesting and my most favorite way to win with the deck is either Expansion Explosion, which is the new Invoke the Firemind, or Fight with Fire, because most of my games last out long enough to where I can kick Fight with Fire and just shoot my opponent for 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Old school Urza's Rage with kicker people, huh?
Yeah, dude, that spell is actually pretty real in this format because, I mean, it's a mid-range-ish format with Boros Angels and Golgari mid-range, so, turns can go pretty long in this format, and just being able to play Urza's Rage is still a viable win condition in this format.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, man. Standard is great right now.
That was the dream, man. That was the dream. It was always just like red-blue counterburn with Urza's Rage for the win. Oh, yeah, man. It's I'm kind of want to grind it a bit more so I can get more ionizes for the deck and just kind of turn it into just a straight up counter burn deck with like Fight with Fire as my main win condition, or Expansion Explosion, and just cut the creatures entirely. Maybe leave in the goblins and the electrostatic fields for like early blocking, but yeah, just turn it into a blue-red spells deck entirely. Man, I love it. I love that. And that Drake guy that you're talking about too, the forecasting cost guy. Mm-hmm. He's good. He's super good. He's a four mana guy, probably has some power and a decent sized ass in the back of him, and has the magical words draw a card on him. So yeah, I had a couple arguments with people, or not arguments, but debates with people on Twitter about the numbers. Because in my list I run 3 Enigma Drakes and 4 Crackling Drakes. Well, Crackling Drake costs 1 more mana, but you get to draw a card over the cheaper body with pretty much the exact same thing, but you don't get to draw a card in this deck in specific because there isn't that much draw power. Your only real draw power is Chemister's Insight and Expansion Explosion. There's like not real much reach, so the Crackling Drake really helps with extending the game and being able to draw enough gas to finish the game off. Chemister's Insight, baby. Oh, and Blink of an Eye, too. Blink of an Eye is pretty good. I mean, it's no Into the Royal, but it's still pretty good, man. I like the theme of your deck very much. Compliments to the chef. Oh, thank you. What country is it where like a burp is considered a compliment to the chef? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let's go with Ethiopia. Sure. That's a bit insensitive. Map. The country that probably eats the least. There is an Ethiopian restaurant in Portland, and it's my understanding that you give them money and they serve you food. So clearly they know how to do something there. Well, okay, maybe I'm the one that's overextending, but hi, I'm Sean McBee, and I just displayed my white privilege. I'm Tasty Snackies, and I like to put my foot in my mouth, so it works out perfectly fine. Tell me something. May I make a transition, Senior Tasty? Yes, please. Tell me what cards you love from this set. There's got to be a couple of them that you absolutely love from this new Ravnica set. There's got to be, right? There are literal dozens of cards that I love in this set, but I had to pick just 5 along with you. And to start off our list, my number 5, we're going 5 to 1, obviously, is going to be, let me turn on screen share here. Come on, there we go. Notion Thief, or Notion Rain, not Notion Thief, even though I wish it wasn't standard. Notion Rain is 1 blue and a black, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards. Notion Rain deals 2 damage to you. And the reason why I love this so much is because I'm a very, very big fan of the card
Read the Bones, which is very similar to this, but instead you scry 2, draw 2, and lose 2. But this has a more restrictive mana cost with blue-black. But having this effect in Standard has me super excited because I love Read the Bones. I think it's better than Sign in Blood. Yeah, you can kill your opponent with Sign in Blood, but the advantage that you get with a card like Notion Rain, and because graveyard synergies are very relevant in the Standard format, being able to have a cheap yet efficient way of getting this much card advantage is pretty decent.
That is big time. I was wondering, at first I was like, is Read the Bones an instant? No, neither is this card.
No.
But still, excellent. I mean, that's a good effect for 3 mana, and you could say, I think at least Surveil is better than Scry in just about every case, right? Yeah.
I Surveil just blows Scry out of the water entirely. I mean, like, I tried building a Surveil deck, and as a result, I had to up the number of cards in my deck up to 74, I think, in order to, because I turned it into like a hyper Surveil deck. Like, I wanted to get shit into my yard as fast as possible so I could get it back with other cards and just like try and build like this value-y deck. It was kind of trash, but
you lost me at 74 card deck.
Well, I mean, I'm milling myself. That's the whole point of the deck.
Variety's the spice of life, I suppose.
So what about you? What's your number 5?
My number 5 is the Final Fortune / Protect All Your Guys, the versatile card known as Chance of Glory.
All right, let me look it up here so I can display it.
White, colorless. All your guys get indestructible.
Wait, what's it called? Chance of or Chance for?
Oh, Chance for Glory.
Okay, that's what it is.
Yep. You basically get to take another turn. If you don't win that next turn, you lose the game.
Oh, okay.
It's got sweet art too. I had this in my sealed deck, and it was ridiculous.
Did it win you any games?
Many games, actually.
Like, in like comparison of like how many times you cast this card, did it win you every game that in which you casted it, or were there some times where you died regardless?
All but 2. In one case, it was like 50-50 chance they had the answer for it anyways, and they did. And in the other one, it was just like I cast it in, not desperation. I was just like, I'm going to do a bunch of damage, and then I died on the crackback because I knew I was going to no matter what. So I was in a losing spot. So, but it didn't take like 5 or 6 games, just like cast this card and ta-da.
This seems like a great
maybe like four games where I got.
This kind of seems like a great like back-breaking card against like a stalled board where like both of you and your opponent are just passing turn after turn, staring each other's board down. Then your opponent goes in for the kill, and then you cast this, block profitably, and then just win on the crackback.
Oh, or if you're just casting it on your turn, like 4 or 5, like if they haven't really put up a lot of defenses, and you're like, oh, I can come in, swing in, maybe trade with something, or just blow them out right here, take another turn, and then win with the damage on attack step number 2.
Okay. I didn't really think about that, but that is.
If your Boros deck is fast enough, I can see that card being like time walk for the win.
Yeah, I mean, have you included Tajik in your list? Because I want to talk about him, but I didn't include him in mine. Okay. So we'll go over him later then. Because I know you're the Aurelia guy. You had the Aurelia commander deck for the longest time. You're all about that Boros.
Yeah, I've even played Aurelia in like control and stuff. 4 toughness, man. That's the magic number. Even with that lava coil card in standard right now.
Does she have 4 toughness? I thought it was 5 toughness. Maybe I'm
talking old Aurelia, so 6 mana cost 1.
Right. Well, I was about to say lava coil's a new card.
Yeah, lava coil's a good one.
But I think you were you talking about like Searing Spear and Aurelia, like that old standard? Because I remember Searing Spear was a thing in that standard. Yeah, here's what I don't understand. Weird side note. Searing Spear is the exact same fucking card as Lightning Strike, like verbatim, like exact same. Yet Lightning Strike is been reprinted again and again in standard. What's wrong with Searing Spear?
I don't get it either. Maybe Searing Spear will have its time again. And
it's kind of like Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic expands.
Why not both?
Why not both? Or why not take turns? Why not have one season with Searing Spear and another with Lightning Strike? A season with Terramorphic Expanse, a season with Evolving Wilds.
You know what?
A season with good cards in a fair, balanced standard format. And then a season of Kaladesh.
We're too close to it, man. We're too close to see the ebb and flow. All we see is the wave.
Yeah,
it's like we're staring at the ground and we have no perspective. But if we could get up a little bit higher and see the big overreaching ebb and flow, and be like, oh, soon it will be Searing Spear's time,
right? Or it might be like a perspective thing, like looking at it from like, I don't know, like 10 years into the future or something. I don't know, for some reason, be like, man, I'm real glad that they didn't reprint fucking Searing Spear in Standard. I hate that fucking card. Flavor fail.
Yeah, that's what it's flavor. It's probably like they want to keep using lightning as their predominant like way of killing things versus like a fiery thing.
Yeah, because burn, the term burn is clearly correlated with lightning and not fire, so it makes sense. But I mean, lightning bolt, that is the penultimate burn spell, so I mean,
maybe even the ultimate.
Oh. So moving on to my number 4 here, we have Venerated Loxodon. This card has been doing fucking work for me in Standard. You just jam out a bunch of small guys, get this dude out on turn 3, and turn all of your little dorks into like 2/4s or 2/2s, or just I've been playing a green-white mid-range deck that's been doing kind of okay for me. Not as good as a blue-red spells deck, but this Loxodon, especially if you can chain 2 to 3 in a row, can just overwhelm your opponents.
2 to 3 in a row?
Yeah, man. Because, I mean, you sacrifice a little bit of a board state by tapping out your creatures, just leaving a 4/4 with a bunch of little beefier dudes, and your opponent's not going to want to attack into that. And then if you can just chain another Loxodon onto that, yeah, it gets pretty gross.
My God.
Pretty good card.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're jamming him out on, like, turn 3 or 4, and all your guys are getting bolstered, too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, good stuff.
Very good.
I see that's why that's one of your faves.
Yeah, it's I didn't actually think too much of that card. Like, I looked at it during spoiler season. I was like, whatever. It's 5 mana. But I keep forgetting, hey, Convoke is really good. I don't know if anyone remembered Stoke the Flames or Court of Calling, but it's good. Conclave Tribunal is also really good. Being able to avert mana cost entirely is very advantageous in Magic.
Man, I forgot about Stoke the Flames. That was a good fucking card.
Oh, man, it was so fucking good. Play that in, like, Goblin Rabble Master and Generator Servant. You just play all that weird red shit in the same deck and just overwhelm your opponents.
I like that now we have Banefire, though. I think that's a great, like, expel / like cleanup.
Mm-hmm. Especially since it can't be countered as well.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, so in when Original Ravnica came out, the deck that I've probably mentioned this many times, but I played the white Celestia deck that had like Yosei in it and the Celestia Guild Mage, and like it was kind of a pseudo ramp deck, and played out mid-range stuff like Loxodon coming to play, gain you 4 life, Hierarch.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good deck for the time, like decent deck, but I splashed red and played Banefire or played Demon Fire in it. And
that's the Hellbent one, right?
Right, which is very similar to today's Banefire, and oh man, it was so good. It was like just that little push over the edge the deck needed, because it would get into the stalemate and then it'd be like tap all the things, fireball, gotcha.
Did you splash just for that card, or did you play any other red spells?
I want to think there was another sideboard card that had red in it that I played, but mostly it was just like I had a Demon Fire or 2 main deck, and it was really easy to get to because you always had the Yavimaya Dryad or Yavimaya something or other that would go fetch up your stomping grounds and put it into play.
Oh, I think I know what you Yavimaya Elder.
It's the one that goes and gets a forest card and puts it into play on either your side or your opponent's side, and it has Forest Walk.
Oh, I have no clue what the hell that card is then.
It's a good one. If you give all your guys Forest Walk, or you have guys that have Forest Walk, you can get them a forest, then you're like, oh, now I have an unblockable.
Seems pretty good.
And then you're like, and they're like, what are you doing with your hands?
I like how in each Ravnica season they come out with a good Loxodon. Like in the original Ravnica, there's Loxodon Hierarch, right? That's the one that you were talking about, right?
Yep,
And
that's got in my deck.
yeah, and then what was the name of the 3-drop 4/4 that was like Obstinate Bailiff?
Smiter, Loxodon Smiter.
That's right. And then this season we have Venerated Loxodon. So
respect Wizards, all the elephant people,
right? What would they be called? Well, Loxodon, obviously, but do they have another like name in fantasy lore, like Elephantkin or whatever?
Elephant people.
Elephant people. Ella people. How about that?
Ella people, yeah.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Mnemonic Betrayal.
Oh, okay. Good thing I didn't choose that card. Then.
That card, I'm pretty sure, is not good in Constructed, except in Commander.
I agree wholeheartedly. Let me pull it up here.
Like, especially in decks that are like, I'm going to make you drop your hand at some point.
Yeah.
You just cast this and go have fun.
I haven't really... I mean, like, I kind of know what this card does. Like, I just know that it's a Yogg's Will for your opponent, pretty much.
That's all you need to know.
But I mean, like, the fact that you get to exile those cards temporarily, like, if... I mean, yeah... Oh, shit, my thing is at very low battery. Hold on, let me plug this in real quick. Keep talking up this card for a second while I get my shit figured out.
Roger that. Yeah, I've been working on Grixis, and so I'm thinking like this card is going to make its way in, even though like I just want to cast it. I feel like if you play it late enough, it's just going to be a cool blowout spell. And Yawgmoth's Will obviously is like one of the best cards in Black. It's, I mean, outside of like the tutors, you know, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, stuff like that. Like Yawgmoth's Will is really, really good in anything where you have a concentrated amount of like spells to go along with it. So it's like it's okay in Commander, but a lot of times people are playing big fatties and stuff that your deck just doesn't do. And to be able to tap into their resources in 2 colors that are kind of limited in their ability to deal with threats and stuff is like seems good to me anyways. And okay, I'm just gonna put it out there. The art looks fucking sweet.
Yeah, the art is pretty good. I've had a complaint recently that all the art is very samey, but here with Ravnica in particular, there are a lot of cards that, yeah, have a very samey vibe to them and a very common aesthetic, which I know that's kind of what Wizards wants. They want uniformity in their art because, you know, old Magic days, you'd have random pieces of art that just stick out, but like wouldn't fit in with the set. This is the correct way of doing it. This is like art that is just very unique and vivid and just really just shines, but also fits in with Ravnica very well.
I don't know that it really like depicts what goes on in the card, but
really
looks fucking sweet.
I mean, like, I don't know. I kind of see the whole mnemonic, like, because from what I understand, like, in terms of how they're trying to deliver the flavor, like your brain is your library essentially. And this kind of looks like a ritual where like you're stealing like someone's soul or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreaching, but that's kind of what it looks like with me.
No shade whatsoever on that description. I guess I can get down on you. I mean, I can get down on what did I just say?
Yeah. You want to get down on me? Oh man. Fuck. I mean, like, we could talk about this after, but I mean, I guess we can share our bedroom talk with our audience.
How embarrassing.
Oh, man, it's not embarrassing for me, baby.
What's your number 4, you son of a bitch?
I already went over my number 4, but before...
What's your number 3, son of a bitch?
Before we get away from this, I don't know if you brought it up while I stepped away for a minute, but I want to play like a mass mill deck and use this as the win con. Like, this is a win con for mill decks.
Interesting. Okay.
Right?
Okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, you just like traumatize someone and then you just take out someone else's library, then you bring all that shit back and then use those resources to take out the third guy.
Nick, you know I have an inner scrub as you just talked about traumatize.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing the mill deck, you got to play the somewhat playable cards in the mill deck. And I mean, like, realistically, Traumatized turn 5, if you're in Christmas land, could nail like 35, 40 cards.
Oh, Christmas Land. I hear it's very nice there this time of year.
It is actually, unlike the rest of the world, it's actually quite cool and cozy.
I think you're right though on the mill them a bunch and then cast Mnemonic Betrayal and have fun. But where I want to play it is in Commander, because I think those colors specifically have problems with removal of various permanents. And if you're like, oh, I'm going to tap into this person's resources and I'm going to get a couple of guys that are out of flavor for my deck, and I'm going to cast a spell that's out of flavor for my deck and out of kind of its scope of what it can deal with, it's a good thing.
Right? Playing a Grixis deck and it's like, sure, I'll cast a ramp spell. Why not?
Yeah, that's excellent for Grixis. Why not? Grixis, the greatest gladiator that's ever lived. The
greatest gladiator that's ever lived?
Yeah, Grixis. Yeah. He's a great gladiator.
Is that a real thing?
No, I just kind of made that up.
Disappoint me, man. Well,
number 3.
Talking about disappointments here, my number 3 is not one. It is quite a good card. It is a charming creature form, and I'm really surprised that they didn't make a whole cycle of it. I wish that they did, and it's like they totally missed the mark on that, because they usually, last Return to Ravnica they had a charm cycle. But Knight of Autumn here is 1 green-white for a 2/1. When it ETBs, you could either put 2+1/+1 counters on Knight of Autumn, destroy target artifact or enchantment, or gain 4 life. So this either becomes a decent body in a mid-range game, helps you recoup some life from like early aggro beats, or it can help, take out some dirtily shit that's on the board, or take out something that your opponent brought in the sideboard.
Seems
all
good.
For this low cost of 3 mana.
And they should do one for each of the seasons, right?
Oh man, that would have been cool. Like, what would Night of Summer be? That'd be the red-white one.
Oh yeah. Oh, then they can only do 4, right? Wait, but there's only 4 houses. No, there's 5. Damn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's 10 guilds in total, but like, I kind of want to use that as like a thought exercise now. It's just like fill out the rest of the cycle. What would the Dimir Knight be, or whatever? Like,
I'm thinking they keep it all Celestia, or no, it has to be white, right? If they're gonna do it.
What do you mean?
So like a knight should usually be white or black.
Yeah, I mean, there's been red knights.
Okay, so you have the Knight of Summer is like the red knight, the red X knight. The Knight of Winter is obviously the black X knight.
I think Knight of Winter would be like the black-white knight.
Oh yeah, good one. And then blue just doesn't get to be involved because they hardly ever have knights.
Yeah,
Knight of the Mist. That's it.
Like, when I think of like what Knight of Spring would be the green-white one, and Knight of Autumn would be the red-white one. But I guess Knight of Summer could be the red-white one, and Knight of Spring, what would be that one?
Knight of Spring.
Could be the red-green one, I guess.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, totally, dude. But then again, you're also like across Ravnica, you have this big autumn theme. So
yeah, because it is technically
stuff's, deciduous trees are dropping leaves all over the place. God damn, that's twice I've gotten to use the word deciduous. Fuck yes.
Are there any deciduous trees in Ravnica? Is there any room for pines or redwoods?
That's the ones that drop leaves, I thought.
Is it? I thought deciduous was like, I don't know. We are not scientists. I am not a scientist. I don't wait, no, it wouldn't be a scientist. It would be a botanist, right? I don't know. I'm dumb.
What the hell?
Yeah. Well, I was never claiming to be an expert in anything. Okay, I'm just a dumb boy running a dumb show on a dumbass YouTube channel.
Dude, it's all right. It's going to be all right.
You can be dumb with me in solidarity, so that way I don't feel like a complete and total jackass on the internet.
Can I do number 3?
No, you can't. In fact, the show actually ends right now. Goodbye, everyone.
My number 3 is Risk Factor.
Oh, that's a good choice. Risk Factor.
It's a good card.
It is, and I believe you were kind of talking shit on it, if I don't recall correctly.
I did not realize that it had the words jump/start below its text.
You didn't know that you could cast it twice?
I did not.
Well,
I did not.
for 3 mana, you could either draw 6 cards, deal 8 damage, or draw 4 cards and draw 3, or deal 4 damage and draw 3 cards.
It takes more than that. You gotta cast it twice.
Well, right, and discard a card, which, whatever, you discard a land.
Mm-hmm.
I've found Jumpstart to be very akin to the Spell Shaper cards from, like, Masks, and I don't know how far away Spell Shapers go, but like when I think of Spell Shapers, I think of cards like Waterfront Bouncer, and cards like, or the Jumpstart mechanic reminds me of cards like Waterfront Bouncer, where you have to get rid of a card in your hand in order to replicate an effect.
Yeah, okay. But it's more like flashback though.
Yeah, it's a flashback with discard, which, I mean, it's Jumpstart, but
yeah, I mean you're pretty much always going to be using something that's like less than, what you're. It's always going to be a land, right? Like,
well, I mean, like in
you're not gonna discard some good resource just so you can like flashback this POS risk factor.
Well, that's why they made it instant, though. So you just hold on to it until you absolutely need to get rid of it. Like, cast it end of turn, draw into like some card that's not going to do anything good for you, and then wait until the end of the turn again and cast it again, and just get rid of dead fodder that's in your hand. Because I've used this card. I haven't gone more than 2 copies in my deck just because I'm afraid of running into like 4 copies all at once with this card.
Yeah, but, you just discard the other copies to rebound it and just keep chaining them off.
Mm-hmm.
Draw 3, draw 3, draw 3, draw 3.
Maybe this should be a 4 of in that burn deck that I was talking about, the counter burn deck.
I don't know. I think this is a very linear card. I think this is all about like pressing your advantage, and
yeah, this is more like just straightforward burn kind of.
Yeah, I think like you're gonna get this, and you wanna have a lot of other spells in your deck that like you're gonna draw into to make their choice an absolute inevitability. Like they're either gonna lose the 4 life right now, or you're gonna draw into 5 points worth of damage, or you're gonna draw into another 4 points worth of damage. You got to make it so that that card is always 4 points of damage, thus negating the possibility of it just blanking on you. Because if somebody just lets you draw 3 and you're like, oh, 3 lands, sweet. But if your deck is full of a bunch of business and like very linear cards, like that, I think is where that card belongs. But you don't want to be drawn into like counter spells and shit, because this would be like, okay, well, you haven't really mounted an offense, so I'll take 4.
Yeah, that is a good point.
But having said that, good luck in your red-blue deck.
Yeah, I'm trying out a bunch of things, and we'll see if we can make it a Pro Tour worthy deck. And I'm not going to make it to the Pro Tour, but I can try. A boy can dream.
If you will it is no dream, Nick.
Yes, that was very T-woo of you. Shout out to Travis Wu. My number 2 is Find Finality. Oh my god, this card is so fucking real, guys. So for Find, you can pay either black, or green, or whatever to return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. And if you build your deck around it accordingly, you don't even need to build your deck around it. I've jammed this in my green-white mid-range deck with no black mana in it to cast Finality, just to play Find and get more creatures back, like my Knight of Autumns and stuff. It's a very good value-based spell, but Finality, it turns into a Languish essentially for 6 mana. And just the fact that this card is so flexible, and that's what I like about this new cycle of these split cards, is that both modes are playable at some point in the game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Finality part of it is, man, that is good shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, the only time where I've had a creature survive through Finality is if I have like a Carnage Tyrant or something big enough on the board. Most of the time, most of the shit dies. That's fine. It's okay as a Wrath spell, because if you jam 4 of these in your deck, you can use your find that you find later in the game to get back creatures that you wrathed away. So it works out perfectly fine.
Man, that's good. That's a mark of a good card too, right? Like a card that you can draw multiples of, and you're like, oh, this is good.
Yeah. Every time I draw one, I'm just like, man, I love this card. I'm glad I drew it.
Your deck has got to be built around it, though. But I mean, this is already popping up in the green-black mid-range decks, right?
I believe so. It should be. It's a very, very value-based card. Like, I know I keep saying that, but it's just I have no other correct way of describing it. There's just so many things packed into this card, and just it's very flexible in the things that you can do.
Well, especially when your deck is already just like you're playing that one-drop zombie to put stuff in your yard. You're just like you create this huge resource to draw from, and then you just find to just get you more guys out the yard. That seems very good. No brainer. It's a no brainer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very, very no brainer, sir. I agree. Have you been watching the chat at all? Because I just came back into it after a while, and it fucking blew the fuck up. Hello, everyone that's hanging out in the chat.
Wow, you've been neglecting them this whole time.
Hell yeah, we got.
Oh my God, are they mad about the Ethiopia thing?
I don't think they were here for the Ethiopia thing.
Fantastic.
We had Kevin from Oak Deck Builder. We got John from They Said We Said. We got everyone fucking here. God damn. Anyways, what is your number 2, sir?
My number 2 is a dual spot. You know, it's sharing a spot with Citywide Bust and Ritual of Soot, as they are like kind of two halves of the same coin.
Okay, so Ritual of Soot, that's the one that I know off the top of my head. That's
sweeps little guys.
Yeah, okay.
Cleans up little things.
Yeah, so Ritual of Soot here.
3 or less.
Yeah, it's just great. And green, like the green black decks, it can be like another Wrath for you, or just like if you're playing a hardcore control deck. I was talking with Chris from Legendary Mana. He's building a Esper control deck that's splashing white for like just Teferi and Chromiums, but like the game plan is just counter magic and Wrath like Ritual of Soot.
You know, this card is neat too because it kills, you know, stuff like Tarmogoyfs.
Mm-hmm.
Like in formats where you're just playing all guys just 3 and under on the converted mana cost, you know, like your Vendilion Clicks, Lingering Souls, Tarmogoyfs, Bobs, just kills just slews of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Would you play this in Modern, like over something like Damnation?
I don't know. It fills a role. If your deck,
I mean, it's the same CMC though, and Damnation hits everything.
Right, but if you're playing guys that are bigger, well, you're probably not going to be sweeping on 4 and then playing bigger guys. You might as well just have Damnation, right?
I mean, like, I guess you could play like a Phyrexian Obliterator and then followed up with Ritual Soot, I guess.
Oh, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Magical Christmas Land.
And then followed up with a Doom Whisperer after that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, just fucking go for it, man. Play all the jank. And then what's this next card? Citywide Bust.
Yeah, Citywide Bust. I love this card. It's a little piece of Austere Command all wrapped into a 3 mana card. As a big fan of White Weenie, like as that deck archetype, like sometimes you just want to reach across the table and punch the mid-range decks right in the face. And that's exactly what this card does.
How dare you play a 4/5, motherfucker.
Yeah.
How dare you play Carnage Tyrants and stop the game.
Gah! Cool primetime, bro. Gah! Smite him.
And the fact that it's 3 mana too.
Yeah.
Pretty very good. Mana efficient. Like very clearly designed for a White Weenie deck.
Yep.
I don't know if because I know some people have been complaining about like very obvious paths in which you can take for deck building. But this is kind of one of those obvious, like, hey, this is your like White Weenie kind of like late game card. But I feel like they've done a good job in this format to present a whole slew of archetypes, not just Ravnica, but like Dominaria, Ixalan, because there's like that mono blue aggro deck that's been popping up where you play like Tempest Djinns and stuff, and you play.
That looks so good, by the way. God, Tempest Djinn is such an awesome card.
Mm-hmm. It really
is. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 toughness.
have it blow the fuck up, man. And then you play stuff like Curious Obsession and you slap it on your unblockable creatures for that early damage, and then your opponent just looks at the star 4 and they're like, oh, I'm fucking wrecked.
Right, I'm fucking wrecked. And then next thing you know, boom, they burst into flames.
Speaking of bursting into flames, my number 1 here is Expansion Explosion. Expansion Explosion is hybrid blue-red, instant copy target instant or sorcery spell with CMC 4 or less. You may choose new targets for the copy. You know, it's great if you're playing against like a control deck to counter their counters, or, you know, if they're playing a lightning strike, it's like, oh, I'll just copy that as well, or, you know, any sort of relevant effect. But I mostly use the second half, Explosion, as one of the win cons in the deck. X, double blue, double red, invoke the Firemind, X damage to any target player draws X cards.
Pretty impressive, gotta say.
So it's kind of the yeah, I know, computer, go away. It's kind of the Sphinx's revelation of the format. People have been saying March of the Multitudes is more or less the Sphinx's revelation of the format, but this card has managed to I've managed to pull away quite a few games with this card.
I'm gonna predict that this card's fork side is going to be what puts it over the top. Like the X spell part is cool. It's an instant. That's great.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the fact that it is 4 and then you have to pay into it is just insurmountably higher than Sphinx's red, which is just 3 and then you pay into it.
Yeah,
so, I mean, it's kind of a whole other level.
I agree, but it's like the expansion part of this spell is like so clutch. I think when you're holding this thing back, you're like, oh man, am I ever going to use this? And then all of a sudden you have a window of opportunity with expansion. I think that's a good one. It's going to be a surprise to people if you're casting that card.
Yeah, it's going to catch so many people off guard because not many people realize that there's a fork effect in standard.
Right.
So they're not going to play around it, and then you just gotcha.
I got a great blowout with that card in the pre-release.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was so good. Oh my god, it was like somebody used like a growth spell on their guy, and they were gonna like 4-for-1 me, and then I ended up like 4-for-1ing them. It's like, oh, that's a good trick. I think I'll copy it.
What spell was it?
I don't know. It was one of the growth spells, like the convoke, like +3/+3 growth spell or something.
So the one where you giant grow 3 different creatures.
No, like it was just a regular growth spell. You know, like the +3/+3 convoke card or something like that.
Oh, okay, I get you now.
They were just hitting me with some good combat tricks that I kind of pushed them into doing it. I figured they had some sort of trick based on a couple of turns worth of feeling out their combat, and then like went in with some guys, and they were like, oh, blocks and giant growth my guy, and you're losing this and this and this and this, and I was like, or am I?
Or
and that's why Magic is fun.
Yeah, man, it's big swingy moments like that. Like story makers are kind of like Magic's like one of their best tools. Like there's not that many story moments that you have with like too many video games, but with like a game with like Magic where there's so many different actions or interactions because there's so many different cards. It's just, you know, the bad beats or the Gotham stories are just endless.
See, and I don't even mind being like a part of a bad beat story, or like I got trampled by somebody doing this, and this, or like I got blown out by that card. Like if I had been blown out by that expansion card, I would gladly impart that story onto others. At least I think more people actually should do that. Should be happy for people who happy for people who win, and a little less like wrapped up in the tragedy of their own loss.
Well, people are very competitive, especially like a lot of the spikes for some reason who go to like pre-release events and try to spike it out.
Yeah.
And then they get super salty when they get blown out by some newbie.
Yeah.
Who played an expansion and copied their growth spell and got BTFO'd.
That card's fucking terrible. Why do you play it?
Fucking noob.
Yeah. Says the guy who just got blown out. Monster kill.
So what's your number 1?
My number one is that guy, Runaway Steamkin.
Okay, run
He's
away.
he's red awesomeness. That
I-
card is so good.
Yeah,
It's every spell. It's like every time you cast a red spell, he gets bigger, and then he rituals for you when he gets to a certain threshold. Like, what an excellent card to fuel all the shenanigans of various red decks and red blue. I really hope this guy sees play in like multiple formats because he looks like a lot of fun.
yeah. I saw a Saffron Olive video or MTG Goldfish art or video like a couple days ago talking about a mono red storm deck for modern.
Yeah,
You just play this and like the 2 mana rituals and your mana morphoses and your grape shots and empty the warrens. And what's the double red tormenting voice card? Something gamble. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. Yep.
Yeah, it plays those, which I don't know why you wouldn't play tormenting voice, but whatever.
Draw some cards, discard some shit. Yeah, whatever.
Right, storm off, get
Yeah.
a big beefy boy, and then discharge him to get more mana, and then just keep going off, and then grape shot your opponent.
Yeah, that, and he does enable that. I mean, the every red spell effectively turning into a mana on kind of, but fundamentally how that card will affect your like red rituals just makes them that much more potent and awesome.
Mm-hmm. Very awesome.
Plus, you can run him out early, and it's like you have this little mana battery guy that's there and can like get involved in combat and all this stuff. He's a cool guy who can facilitate a lot of shenanigans. So
right, he can be a nice little 4/4 body until you're ready to dump the mana out for something.
Yeah,
like or like if you can just hold on to like a lightning strike in your hand or whatever and just keep bashing in, and then they'll like removal and like, okay, cool, lightning strike or whatever.
Yep,
Very flexible.
Cha-cha. Or at the last second, like if you know he's gonna die, you can just cash him in for whatever.
Right. Makes me wonder what kind of triple red instants there are in the format, if there would be, or like 2 in a red or 1 in double red. I'm sure there are, just none are coming to mind.
Is it the marijuana, Nick?
The marijuanas,
Yeah. Sorry, cannabis.
cannabinoids.
Other than that, the other card that I would have mentioned was Experimental Frenzy. Why is it all red cards and white cards tonight?
Well, it hasn't been all. Well, I mean, for you, it's
For
been.
me, it's been pretty. Yeah.
Well, you've always been biased towards Boros, haven't you?
I'm an Is It guy. Is it?
Are you?
Yep, big time. But
Well, it doesn't work if I say "are you" instead of "is it." It doesn't work like that. Damn it! I fucked that up. Fucking idiot. Pull up this card again. So effectively, Outpost Siege 2.0, Experimental Frenzy. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play the top card of your library. You can't play cards from your hand. Destroy Experimental Frenzy. So it's not really Outpost Siege, but it's this format's Outpost Siege. You play this when like you've run out of cards, or you can use it to your advantage and then sacrifice it when you need to. But I think this is a really cool, interesting design. Future Sight has or Red has a Future Sight card. I mean, you get to look at it so your opponent doesn't get that information, which is pretty cool.
yeah, I like a lot of things about this card, and red doesn't really have this kind of effect where you can go through multiple cards in a row. It gets you one every turn in most cases off of Chandra and the aforementioned Outpost Siege, but this has a potential to just get out of hand.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Which I support.
What's like the ideal number of this copy would you play in a standard deck? 2, 3? 2? Yeah, 2 sounds good. What about Commander? Is this Commander worthy?
Yeah, and I think in like mono red this card's fine.
Yeah.
Or like the Aurelia deck, yeah, all day.
Jam that shit all day. Would you play the new Aurelia as your commander? I mean, like, is the whole... I'm trying to remember the original Aurelia's effects. It doubles your damage and halves your opponent's damage, right?
No, that's Gisela, I think.
That's Gisela. Which one's Aurelia again?
Aurelia's the one that had 3/4 haste, vigilance, flying, and when it attacks, you get another You untap your guys and get another combat step.
Oh, okay.
For extra brain beating.
This is also a nice little combo with Sensei's Divining Top as well.
Yeah, it's the same thing as Future Sight effectively, because God, top in that card is so good. But
Top in general is just really good in that format. You know, people have been bitching about like, oh, Sensei's Divining Top should be banned in Commander because it's so dirtily. And fuck you. You don't know the glory of Sensei's Divining Top.
Man, well, that's a well-worded argument, Nick. Nice job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you. Yeah, that's funny.
John in the chat, not big on the Surveil cards. We are. We were talking it up when I went over Notion Rain. Surveil is insane.
Yeah, I love the 3/2 guy that has Surveil too. I'm a big fan of that card.
Which guy?
I don't know. He's like hybrid cost, like hybrid 1, 3/2 comes into play. Surveils for 2.
Oh, Whisper Agent. And he's got Flash.
Yep. Flash. Oh. Set up Warlocks and Ajax to retrieve his body.
I have no clue what you're talking about. Is that from this Flash show or whatever?
That is from Queen. That's a Queen song, sir.
Well, I don't fucking know. Obviously, I'm fucking stupid. That's the theme of tonight's episode. Not actually what we're talking about, which is Magic is dying and we killed it, which is pretty much me. I couldn't figure out an apt title for this video because we missed like a month's worth of shit.
Oh man.
Every Magic player in the world likes to say that Magic is dying every 5 minutes. So, you know.
Millennials killed it, just like they killed Applebee's.
Hey, we said it at the same time. High five. Internet high five. Fucking got him. What else did we kill?
Shit. Marriage?
Yeah,
marriage?
That's true.
Fucking bye, marriage. You're done. Millennials got your ass.
Buying houses. Everybody rents now.
Blockbuster, get the fuck out of here.
Newspapers, we killed newspapers.
Get the fuck out. Magazines,
we brought back avocados from the grave.
Yep. Having kids before you're 40, take a fucking hike.
Conforming to societal norms.
Yep.
Nah, man.
GTFO, desk where you just sit. No, man, we're about that standing desk life.
We're all about injecting soy directly into our veins nowadays, rather than trying to save up for retirement and die all withered and pathetic, surrounded by our family members. Oh, they lived a good life, but no. You know how we're gonna die in the future, man? We're probably gonna like wither and die by the side of the street. That's how we're gonna die. No one's gonna remember us. Yeah.
We're gonna die signed up for the premium package of Dollar Shave Club.
Speaking of, today's sponsor is Dollar Shave Club. You can get Dr. Kava's shave butter. I think that's Bill Burr. I tried doing a really shitty imitation of Bill Burr on his Monday morning podcast.
Oh, you don't like Bill Burr?
I love Bill Burr. That was my tribute to him. My really shitty impersonation of him.
Good.
He's one of the last great comics, like him, Louis C.K., Tom Segura. Man, I just started watching Tom Segura recently. Have you seen any of his shit?
Yeah, man, he's a savage. I'm a big fan of him.
I kind of avoided him for a while because, like, I did not like his face. I was just like, man, you have a really punchable fucking face. I don't want to punch in your stupid fucking face. I never watched his shit, but then I came around to it and started watching it, and I was thoroughly impressed.
Yeah, Netflix did him right, man.
Mm-hmm.
He has a couple of specials on Netflix. Very funny.
Doesn't he have a TV show now or something?
Yeah. He was just in Eugene, too.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. He
might have been in Portland recently, too, then.
Yep, probably. He's out there on that tour making that money. Not doing things that people of his generation do, like go to Applebee's and fucking get married before they're 40.
Speaking of things that were killing, like paper, Wizards of the Coast here is killing Magic the Gathering, and we killed it. So experimentation here is a shitty-ass article written by Wizards of the Coast, pretty much explaining that they are moving on from game stores, effectively, because they're moving on to distributing cards online in a much more easier and quote-unquote convenient way for the consumers. So Let me try and find the actual fucking part here that says it. Okay. We know Magic is a global brand, and almost everything we produce is for a global audience. We also know that not every experiment is ready for the global stage. Just as digital products sometimes beta test in small markets before releasing them wider, we also have experimented with region-specific products like Global Series. Occasionally, we will even produce products with limited distribution for various reasons, such as blah, 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 blah. One of the core tenets of our fan-focused strategy is to make sure we deliver Magic to players when, where, and how they want it. For example, Magic has been long available on Amazon from various stores and distributors, but we've formalized a direct relationship with Amazon in the United States to give players who order their product through that channel a better experience. In many parts of the globe, Magic has already been available directly from Amazon and other online retailers. There is a lot to unpack just from that little paragraph right there.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that Wizards and Amazon are headquartered near each other?
Are they headquarters near each other?
Yeah, like Amazon's in Seattle.
Maybe Mark Rosewater and Jeff Bezos are gay lovers.
Whoa! I wasn't taking it that far. Holy shit!
Fuck it, why not, man? Or Chris Cox, he's the CEO of Wizards of the Coast, so that's a better candidate for the lover of Jeff Bezos. Do you think Jeff Bezos is like a Christian Grey kind of guy, where he's just really lonely by himself, so he just gets like people to torture sexually, and that's how he gets his rocks off?
Wow, I'm so glad I haven't read those books.
The only reason why I know that is because of YouTube reviews, and I've seen so many people shit on that movie. That's just what I don't actually know the actual synopsis, but I know that's what that guy's like, and that's what I imagine Jeff Bezos is like. And
I was under the impression that he is the one who got tied up.
No, man, he's the tire, man. He's got the money for the BDSM dungeon, and he just blows this innocent girl's world wide open to debauchery, man.
And he just doms her out.
Yeah. Did you know that whatever it's called, 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, was based off of a Twilight fan fiction?
Oh my God, kill me.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
Oh, man.
It was loosely based off of a fan fiction, and I don't know how they further developed this fan fiction. Or how much of the book was already written, and then they're like, oh, I could actually write a whole book about this and sell it to a bunch of fucking horny-ass 40-year-old women.
Aren't we kind of playing a game that's based off of Lord of the Rings fan fiction?
Yes. Pretty much.
Like, Magic is just straight rip-off Tolkien and in card form.
That's not true. Mirrodin has metal things.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to come up with differences. Kaladesh has vehicles. Okay. So there's guns in Magic. There are no guns in Lord of the Rings. Thank you very much.
Yeah, like crossbows and spears.
But there's actual guns, though. There's pirates with guns.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
Yeah, man.
How do you bring down a dinosaur? You don't do it with a dumb spear. You do it with some sort of pirate gun. Yeah,
some sort of pirate gun.
Some steampunkery.
That's funny because I think there's a dinosaur hunter card in Ixalan or Rivals of Ixalan. It's a black card, but he's got like a harpoon gun. So, I mean, that is a viable option for killing T-Rexes, is a nice little bow and arrow.
The harpoons, man them.
We got a big one.
Yeah. That's so good. So I think the fact that people can get Magic through Amazon is, I mean, it's fine on some level, but local game stores having them go down is not going to be good for the game. Certainly not the paper game. And if you want more stagnation of formats, you want people to not have a place to play, I guess that's a great way to do it.
Right? Like, things have become so much more convenient for the common player. Like, you don't have to go to your LGS anymore. You just play on Arena. You don't have to go to your LGS anymore because you can buy like booster boxes off of Amazon because they only need like a tiny amount of margin in order to make any sort of profit. So
Okay,
like
but
they can sell you it for virtually near cost.
think about this scenario though. If you want to get together with a bunch of people and you're like, "Hey, I want to draft tonight."
Right.
Like, if you're in a major city that has Amazon delivery, you can just be like, "Hey, come over to my house tonight, and I'll get the packs delivered tonight."
Right.
And they can just like you Prime membership that shit up, and Bob's your uncle, and packs are at your house.
Right. In the
All you
digital
gotta,
age,
you
convenience
can even
is
have
king.
them bring the fucking Doritos to go with your draft.
Exactly, man. Like in the digital age, everything is becoming so much more convenient. And like with, having shit streaming or delivering or just everything is just like as long as you have a computer or a smartphone, you can virtually do everything that you would have had to make such a bigger effort for 10, 15 years ago, like going to your LGS and draft when you can just invite friends over and draft instead, or, just any other sort of similar thing, because I just can't really think right now. But like, that's what I feel like will kind of kill the LGS model, not just Wizards of the Coast just slowly and over time just ignoring LGSs more and more and more and just kind of giving them the shaft, but it's just like providing all of these unique and convenient options for basic consumers like you and me. We're not really going to feel bad about, kind of ignoring our LGSs when we just come up with bullshit excuses to tell ourselves. Like, people will be like, "Oh, it sucks that Blockbuster died," but like, do you remember going to Blockbuster? That was a shitty experience almost every single time I went to a Blockbuster. They never had anything that I wanted, and it always smelled like mold. Like, Blockbuster fucking sucked. But now that hindsight's 2020, we're just like, oh, we kind of missed that interaction of meeting other people and, talking to them and like, oh, can you request me this movie or something? Or you just get sick
People
of.
don't really miss that. They just think they miss it.
Yeah, they think they miss it. So
they're in love with the old pain that it's caused by not having that experience in their life. The nostalgia wound,
So like 10 years from now, if paper magic is still going to be a thing, players are just going to have a booster box delivered right to their front door or just buy singles online like through Amazon, because I don't think TCG players going to make it in the long run, in my opinion. So they might not be able to buy cards off of them. You might have your Card Kingdoms and your Channel Fireballs and your ABU games or whatever, but like I hate being
I kind of wonder if
negative.
places like that aren't going to turn into like art houses. Like they have like copies of these old cards. Like the way comic and figurines and stuff like that are collected. If they're not just going to turn into a place where you can like, oh, you can view that thing and you can maybe get an old copy of something.
Kind of like a museum almost.
Yeah, but like the way a lot of comic shops are like museums. Like museums of this like modern form of art, because that seems like what really really old cards are turning into, are like nice pieces of art that are done on like that, done on old cardboard, old fucking rigid.
Like
cardboard.
I am displaying Shivan Dragon original art. It's from, I think that's the revised version that's blown up, but still, it's iconic design, man. Fucking beautiful. But
5th edition, my man.
That's 5th edition?
Yeah.
Okay. You have a better eye for that shit than I do.
I only say it because of the size of the borders.
Oh, you're that into it, huh? You can tell just by the size of the borders?
Yeah.
What a fucking nerd. Jesus Christ.
Thank you. Oh my. I didn't know it was going to be an episode with all the compliments tonight. So nice.
Oh, man. What can I say to trigger you?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But in short, I don't. Well, you had brought up earlier stores being able to survive with like other business models, like, displaying cards like pieces of art. What about like, because Epic Gaming, right? They started highlighting other games, and he streams on the internet now, and he's the owner is being pretty successful at it. I'm really glad for him, and he's hosting all these fighting game tournaments and speed runs and all this shit. And he's finding other avenues of revenue, and that's what I feel like these LGSs are going to have to do in order to survive. Kind of like Guardian Games in downtown. yeah, they have a nice, decent size of the store dedicated to Magic, but so much more of the store is dedicated to like board games and Legos and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and renting out video games, and there's a bar in there. So those are the stores that will make it, because they have prepared to not just focus on Magic entirely, like the Clubhouse LGSs,
Yep.
Kind of like what Epic was in the beginning. Like those types of LGSs probably will not survive in like the next decade or so. Like trying to open up a new one is a death wish, in my opinion. It's just financial suicide.
Yeah, that's a no-go on that. If you think you're going to open up a gaming hall like from 10 years ago or 20 years ago or anything along those lines, think again.
Yeah.
Like, you're what? You're going to sell you're going to run a business where your main like source of income is sodas?
I mean, yeah, that was like kind of the main profit of that shit, right? It was just like, getting people in for the events and, keeping them in long enough. They buy sodas and snacks and singles and shit. And that's how you make your money. But
yeah, that's whack.
They do that anymore these days.
You know what? Full credit to the owner of Epic Gaming for diversifying his bonds, because he did what I think good business people do, which is recognize the landscape around him, see the changes coming, down the road, and
prepare for it.
Yeah, prepare for it, and he did, and I think he'll survive as a result, because he brings a lot of people into that shop to play video games and to play against each other, and that's what it is. It's still people coming and competing against each other, and he's really not that far off of his former idea for his business. So his model has not changed a ton, but the way he implements it kind of has. And you know what? That's all right, man.
I was gonna say he's one of the biggest streamers for Final Fantasy in general. He was hosting a Final Fantasy event, and there was another semi-popular Final Fantasy event happening, like a regionals or something, and his views were rivaling that.
Oh, get shit on.
Right? Well, I mean, like, he's hitting a niche market like in its infancy, which is really important. Like, especially if Final Fantasy blows the fuck up, he could be like one of the forefront names for it, and that would be rad, honestly.
Yeah, I wish him a lot of well. Plus, he and I need to go get Thai food in the near future, so if he does really well, maybe he'll just pay for
it. Don't push your luck, McB. Jeez.
Yeah, go Dutch. Don't be an asshole.
So this next thing that I want to talk about with Magic is dying and we killed it. In case you haven't been paying attention to the narrative that he who shall not be named has been promoting for a while, is that GP attendance is down.
Voldemort?
Yeah, Voldemort. Mr. Unsleeved himself.
Oh, right.
I don't feel like starting shit. So he who shall not be named has been singing from the hills constantly about GP attendance is down and numbers and just blah 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 blah. And well, it is true. You can't deny it. When you go to when you look at GP Vegas from this past year and you look at the results from other years, it's very apparent and very obvious that people are losing interest. So a lot of times corporations, whenever they notice that something is failing, they try to rebrand it. So Wizards has decided, GPs, Grand Prix, they're too fancy. They're not good enough. They don't really embody the Magic spirit. Let's just fucking call it Magic Fest. So Magic Fest is effectively GPs, but with a new name slapped on top of it and a few other side events just slapped on top of it as well. And I mean, yeah, from what I understand, it might be posted in here, but I can't be fucked to read it right now. From what I understand, Pro Tours will also be playing alongside these Magic Fest. So you'll have your GP or whatever in the same event area as a Pro Tour. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that consolidation. I feel like Wizards should have been like consolidating their events much earlier and making this shit cheaper. But like, that's the only real difference. These GPs will have like maybe some extra shit set aside for MTG Arena, and they may have a few extra cosplayers out, doing their cosplayer thing. but it's still a GP.
So stupid. Dude, you know what they should have done a long time ago? Again, this is I will give credit to the proprietor of Epic Gaming on this one. They should have got in with the big cons that already existed, and they should have just tied a bunch of stuff to those.
Right? Why couldn't we have like a PAX West, like actual Magic Fest or something?
Yep, they should have just glommed onto one of those, had the same thing happening at the same time, capitalized on the number of people that were there to check that out and stop doing their, like still have maybe their own events, but, teaming up to make a bigger, better event, I think is a good idea on their part. Maybe they didn't have anybody who wanted to play ball. I'll admit that, but
maybe.
Still, I think teaming up with another event certainly would have driven some people in through the doors to come check things out, and for all the vendors to make it worth it for them, because currently price to go and be at one of those events is so ridiculous. There's like hardly any way you can make your money back unless you are the belle of the ball.
Right. It's kind of like what you had mentioned earlier with not necessarily waiting for people to come to you, but bring yourself to the people, because that's what this Magic Fest kind of looks like, is a trying to allure people who really aren't into Magic culture to get into Magic culture. But that's the thing. If people they don't keep their ear to the ground about this kind of thing, and they're just a very casual, like, oh, I'll play Magic once a year type of person, they're not going to know what the fuck a Magic Fest is.
Yeah, however, if you give a shit.
Yeah, but if you take it to like a Mag Fest or PAX West or PAX East or E3 or Portland Retro Gaming Convention, which is about to happen here in a couple weeks here in Portland, bring your product to markets that will be interested in your product, and you may actually see some growth. And I understand logistically probably setting up something like a Magic Fest would kind of be a nightmare, but instead of having a GP every fucking weekend, consolidate that into better, well-rounded experiences and have better prize payouts by having less tournaments in more impactful places like conventions or something. Give your people bang for their buck.
Man, bang for your buck is kind of the underlying message there, and the lack of it thus far has really been kicking ass. Has been kicking Magic's ass as of late.
Yeah. I don't understand what they're trying to do. Like, it just seems like they're scrambling. Like,
trying to put out fires.
Exactly. Like, Corbin Hostler just recently put out this theory that he thinks Guilds of Ravnica Mythic Edition was those promo cards were for HasCon, this year's HasCon, but it got canceled. So they panicked and they needed to release this somehow. So we'll just chill it out in this hyper expensive booster box.
Wow.
And what really bothers me about this Guilds of Ravnica Mythic Edition?
What really grinds your gears, dude?
What really grinds my gears, and it extends just beyond this and every other limited centric product, is these shitty excuses to make things the way they are for the limited environment. Like Guilds of Ravnica Mythic Edition, you're paying $250 for 24 booster packs and 8 special cards. But the 24 packs is perfect for an 8-person draft, for that quote-unquote perfect draft experience. But what about those promos that you get in there? Vraska and Ral are the only cards that are legal in the set. So, Teferi could just break this Guilds of Ravnica draft format, depending on what you open from your thing. So it just kind of seems like stupid to try and promote this with a, draft with your friends thing, when they could have at least put it in a fucking 36-pack box. At the very least, if you're charging $250 fucking dollars for From the Vault promos, because they're From the Vault full art Planeswalkers. Maybe that's what it is, now that I think about it, because there are 8 of them. So I know From the Vault had 15 cards, but it is the same foiling process. So maybe they were rejected From the Vault cards. That could very well be a thing as well. But
that's what they should have done, is just done the From the Vault thing with them.
Yeah,
like people are fine with that already. That's a thing people are already fine with doing, and like they're gonna get some cool alternate art cards. Like, yeah, that's people already are on board with that. So why change it? Why turn it into a reason to sell packs? Just let people buy packs the way they fucking want to buy packs.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. But
and then
maybe it's 3D chess and I'm playing 2D chess.
Well, it's 4D chess and you're playing 3D chess. That's what it is.
Oh fuck.
Well, yeah, because you're not playing chess on the 2D realm, are you?
Shut up, Nick.
I'm just saying. So,
wait, yes, you are.
What do you mean?
You play chess on a goddamn 2D board.
Are you? Is
yeah.
the world that we live in 2D? Is everything flat?
No,
is there
but
no
chessboard has a X and Y axis, guy.
What about What about the depth of it? I'm just saying, man.
X and Y axis, baby. That's all you see on a chessboard. You can go up or you can go down.
I mean, sure, if you're playing on the computer, I guess. But I mean, if you're getting pissed off, you can just throw the fucking board in the air, and there's your third dimension right there.
Welcome to time, bitch.
This fucking game sucks.
Boom.
Get out of here.
There's your strategy.
So the other thing in this article that I wanted to go over was their new how qualifying for the Pro Tour is changed. So we'll just read along here. We'll actually read along from the source instead of just speculating like the idiot I am. The first two Pro Tours of 2019, Cleveland and London, are operating under the current qualification system. Nothing is changing here, blah, blah, blah. But afterwards, things will look a bit different. There will be three primary methods for qualifying for Pro Tours: Pro Club and Pro Tour finish base invites, which is already a thing. Grand Prix tournaments, which has already been a thing anyways. And then these new qualifying events, which are these open qualification events and invite only. So it seems like these qualification events, because they're trying to increase the number of players that can play in these Pro Tours, you know, if you have a certain store that is within a certain threshold, you can pretty much just have on-demand PTQ events.
Wow.
So I think that's a good thing. You know, giving players more opportunities to get into the professional field is something that they need to be doing. They need to be growing their professional scene and in turn fairly compensating it. But that's a whole other story that we'll go over later. But I don't hate this. I think this is fine.
I just hate the renaming of the Magic Fest thing. That's just a bunch of nonsense.
Your audio's off. No, I mean your audio's on, but you sound like off. Like what? How far away is your mic?
Right here.
Okay, there we go.
The Magic Fest thing just bothers me, and this more people getting qualified for the Pro Tour. Yeah, more people chasing the dream.
Yeah.
No hate on that. No hate on that. Chase the dream. Do it. Go get it.
No hate on that at all. So while I pull this up, tell me in this situation, if you were to be told that a Magic Pro officially boycotts a large event such as Worlds, what's your gut reaction to that without any context?
They want publicity for something, or they want publicity for their particular stance on something. They're taking a knee.
They're taking a knee. Oh, God, really? You're going to do that whole Kaepernick thing?
I'm fine with that, though. I'm fine with people taking
So,
take a knee as you see fit, sir.
So, Jerry Thompson here is a Magic the Gathering pro. Very smart guy. He is. Oh, what the fuck? Why is it not loading? There we go.
The goddamn internet's on the fritz again.
Yeah, my internet's just taking a dump all over me.
And yet we're still somehow streaming.
Yeah, I think it's because I'm trying to do too much for this. Or I'm overloading my computer. I'm not even fucking talking correctly here. All right, I think I found it. Enough with the bullshitting around and dragging on and disappointing our audience members. So
our audience? Fuck our audience.
So,
I mean, hey, thanks for supporting us.
So this old ass news from 25 days ago. Jesus Christ, this was like right after our last podcast. Jerry Thompson in detail explained why he protested playing in the World Championships. And these first 6 points are pretty much the core of it. First being Wizards of the Coast does not pay professional players a living wage. This in of itself is not a requirement. However, if the goal is to sell the dream of playing on the Pro Tour, there should be something in place to make that worth achieving. Between qualifying becoming more and more difficult, especially with the goalposts continually changing and the lack of reward at the top, the message currently being sent is don't waste your time. So what's your take on that?
Fully agree. Don't waste your time. Because getting on the Pro Tour, I mean, it's going to get you some measure of accomplishment, a feeling of accomplishment, but you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like
Let me put it this way, dude. Mm-hmm. I stopped playing in Magic tournaments after I started working at the card shop. You know why?
Why?
Because every single Magic tournament that I could ever play in, if I won, I was making less than I did when I worked at the card shop that X amount of hours to actually make the tournament happen. So if I was going to sit there and play Magic to try and make money, then no, bad idea. That's not how you make money. Go to a fucking job if you want to make money.
Well, right, but other professional gamers that aren't in Magic are able to support themselves financially by being good at their games. But
and Wizards has been sucking it up for long enough. I think that the draw to be a professional Magic player has been pretty dead for a long time, and you're talking about like the upper echelon of people that are out there getting onto the Pro Tour. I used to know lots of people that would go to regionals, to nationals. Like there were cruise people that were young like me at the time, 15, 16, 17, that were going out and were possibly playing in nationals. Like my buddy Eric got second at nationals. He was on the world's team. Like multiple people that I knew went and did that sort of stuff, and they won plenty of money doing it. But it was still sort of a hobby to them. Like it was still like it was not a profession to them. And I don't see where there's room to be a professional Magic player right now. I feel like there's room to be somebody who goes and loves Magic and maybe goes to a couple of events, like every year, like big ones like the Pro Tour, but to base your whole life on it, I just don't think there's room for it, man. I don't think that's a healthy outlet.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll admit every player feels this way. They have like this yearn. Well, not every player, but a lot of players want to fantasize of being like a high level pro and being in the Pro Tour. But in today's day and age, it's kind of hard to do that, because if you want to grind to get into that position of being able to play in the Pro Tour, it's just not financially viable to support yourself traveling from GP to GP or PTQ to PTQ. Because you've heard the stories of that one dedicated dude who has the well-paying job and enough time on his hands to be driving across state, over states to play in PTQs to try and grind. And then, they eventually give up because they're shitty players or whatever, or Variance gets the best of them. Which, I mean, Variance is pretty much like the number one reason why a lot of pros just like fall off the map is it might be because of skill, but a lot of times it's because you just get blown the fuck out by Variance. Yep. That's kind of one of the worst parts about Magic the Gathering, is just like you also need to be on top of that Variance. And if you're not, all of this time and money that you've invested into this could very well show up for absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah, and I also think that people may think that what they want is to be a professional Magic player, but then when it gets down to really putting in the real work for it, it's not that they're not down for work. It's that there are other things in life that are more fulfilling.
Right? Could you imagine spending your entire life on a plane constantly just to play in a convention hall for 2 days and just recycle that over and over and over again?
I think that would wear on me personally. But, I understand that there are people that are built out there to do that. And you know what? God bless them. Go get that shit. Like, go be the best professional Magic player you can be if you have the means and the desire to do it. But I think for most people, the desire is fleeting. and it might be even be a little bit false. Like there are, and possibly even a substitute for something else in their life that they're actually looking for. Like something in them that inherently, like, I want to succeed, but the only thing that I see that I can succeed at is this game. But really, there are plenty of other things that they could succeed at, that they could be wonderful at, that involve maybe even some of the skills of Magic that they just haven't found yet. You know?
Yeah, they could be like a content creator or a writer or something, or go work at Wizards of the Coast. So, I know a lot of pro players have ended up doing that. Either interning at Wizards or now, which is kind of a new thing in the past year or so, is working on the development team as a QA tester for Standard, effectively.
Dope. See, that'd be fun. That would be fun, and it would not involve you having to win a Pro Tour. You have I have a job. Hooray! Congratulations. The bum's lost, Lebowski. Get a job, sir.
That's what you feel like right now as that character. You are the original Jeff Lebowski.
The bums will always lose. You hear me, Lebowski?
So all these other points, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, also still kind of fall into this whole, Wizards of the Coast just doesn't pay attention to their pro scene as much as they should, which is a large part of the reason why he's protesting this. But number 6 here is what really stood out to me. With people like Alex Bertoncini and Jared Bedeker still playing Magic, it doesn't send a strong enough message to those who would consider cheating. I am not comfortable with thieves being allowed inside tournament halls. Now, you can have your own opinions about thieves and cheaters and stuff, but it is a very real and very persistent issue that has been one for quite some time. And for those of you that don't know, Chris Bakula is a very influential player, and not because he's a very skillful player. He is, but he was known as being one of the main people to combat cheating in the late 90s and early 2000s for Magic the Gathering, when it was really rampant, and people, like, you could say that like 1 in 5 of the top pros at the time was a very dishonest player. And it just kind of shows today, like, people like Alex Bertoncini being allowed back in, you served your time or whatever. And these pros that have been constantly getting caught cheating over the past few months, and seeing Chris Bakula not being allowed or not being voted into the Pro Tour Hall of Fame, just, it really kind of kills my faith in the pro community, essentially. Not saying they're all cheaters, but to just see this community and just see this cancer that is like the cheaters, that is a very prevalent and very noticeable part of the pro community. And it's effectively just, we'll just sweep it under the rug, forget about it, whatever, it's fine. We'll just ban them. Who cares?
Justice, man.
Fucking sucks. I can't hear you again. Your mic is.
Where's the justice?
Okay, there we go. Gotcha. I don't get it, because a couple days ago, this past weekend, a player got caught cheating on stream. I don't understand, like, if you're going to cheat, fine. Like, it may be an impulse thing and you're just cheating just for the sake of it, and you don't really, think about the camera catching you, or like, oh, maybe I have such good sleight of hand that the camera won't notice it. But a recent player decided to fetch for a stomping ground that was in their graveyard. And, while his opponent wasn't able to see it because of the sleight of hand, we were able to see it through the coverage. And Wizards of the Coast has yet to make a statement on this player. And this has been 3, 4, 5 days since the event. But the venue in which hosted the event already made a statement that he's permabanned from that store. Good on that front. But, like, Wizards of the Coast is just not very consistent in terms of carrying out their consequences for, cheaters. They'll lifetime ban Unsleeved Media for making memes and just being a general, shit starter. But yet people that will cheat and steal from other players actively and just hamper the experience for everyone, fuck it. We don't need to talk about that shit.
Sense of justice, man. No justice in this world.
I don't get it, man. Magic is dying, and we killed it with our culture, our value-based culture.
Yep.
Man.
And marriage, and Applebee's, and Blockbuster.
What
corded phones?
What else did we kill? Dial up.
Yeah. Cable. Buying cable.
Oh yeah, we cut the cord.
Cut the cord. We all cut the cord.
Just so we could spend $10 on Netflix and $10 on Hulu and $10 on this other streaming service and $10 on this other streaming service.
Deciduous. Shedding or losing foliage at the end of the growing season. Hence, deciduous trees. Falling off or shedding at a specific season or stage of growth. Deciduous antlers or leaves. Or of or relating to the primary teeth.
You know, the newer viewers in this video probably have no clue what you're referring to with that deciduous definition.
We had a disagreement. Well, not a disagreement, but a slight confusion about what exactly the word deciduous means, and I feel that I used it in the right context.
You are correct, sir.
And pedantic.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, being right is very important, kids. That should be today's lesson. It's not go have fun and play Magic. It's be right. It'll make you feel better about yourself.
If you're not right, then there's no point in living at all.
Also, it was delightful to team up with you again today, Nick.
Yes, it's been fucking forever. We got to make another episode that isn't a month apart from each other. So
I agree. Next week.
Yeah, we got to get back onto this weekly thing. Consistency is key. We don't want to disappoint the 10 people that are watching. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I haven't streamed in quite a while, but we're polling very similar numbers to what I used to get before. So I appreciate it. Thank you all very much. I will not disappear again for another month or so. But anyways, this will be the end of Mana Dorks Podcast, episode 10. I am Tasty Snapkeys, as always, with my co-host, McBee. McBee, you have any final parting words for our audience?
Deciduous, motherfucker.
Deciduous, motherfucker. God damn it. As always, my name is Tasty Snackies. You all have been wonderful, and I'll catch you on the flip side.